Hi, my name is Harrison. I'm with the Luxury Pergola, and here are some funny marketing gimmicks that we found within our industry that we find entertaining and thought we'd talk about. The first one we've seen is made for Americans, which honestly, we find funny, or I find funny, because obviously the person buying it is the person buying it. So if you're American and you're buying it, apparently it's made directly for you. For example, do they ship the pergola with a bunch of hot dogs and a baseball jersey? That would be for Americans, I suppose, if they packaged it that way. Then I would understand why they call it that, but otherwise it doesn't make any sense. Obviously, the problem here, in our opinion, is the fact that it says the word America makes people, I think, especially if they're glossing over it, think it's made in America, and they don't read the preposition correctly, that it's made for Americans, not by Americans or in America. Every single one of these pergolas, if you look at product after product after product from these different companies that have different brands, if you really look at the product, you'll notice they're the exact same product, just duplicated over and over again, because the same manufacturers, either in China or Turkey, are importing them to the same brands, and they're labeling it something different and selling it at a different price point. We actually designed our entire product from scratch. Myself and my father designed every single part that goes into this pergola from the very beginning. Nothing in here is duplicated from an existing line or an existing product. Everything is brand new and designed by Americans, and in our case, also for Americans. The other one we've been seeing a lot of is designed in California. This is obviously popular with tech companies because they're headquartered in California, and so they obviously produce, like an iPhone, for example, is designed in California and produced overseas. But what's funny about this is I could, for example, get on a plane, fly to California, draw up a pergola design of an extrusion, and then when I fly back, I could say, well, this pergola was designed in California because I was in California when I designed it. It doesn't make it a better product based on where someone's locale is, where they design the pergola, whether it was designed in California or not, or if they're just stealing that concept because that's what's used for tech things. I don't think it makes it more or less expensive or better or worse. So the third one is one that I find hilarious. It's my favorite, and that is made with 100% aluminum, because the alternative that other people use when they're being shady is they use an aluminum steel alloy, which rusts. And that doesn't make any sense. So two things here. One, 100% aluminum is not used in extrusions. All of them are alloys. We have a video talking about alloys that we use in all our extrusions. They're a mixture of different components. The largest component there is obviously aluminum, but there's different elements that are added in, or different metals, to make it softer, harder, better tensile strength, all that stuff. Pure aluminum is really only used in a few things: soda cans, kegs, power lines, or as a coating to prevent corrosion. And notice none of those are structural, except maybe kegs, which could hold the weight of me, I suppose, but that's a story for another time. 100% aluminum would be a weaker product. It isn't better because it's pure aluminum. Now, the steel aluminum alloy concept also doesn't make any sense. There's a principle that is known around engineering or around metals, and that is that there's a reaction between dissimilar metals. There's ways to get around that, like stainless steel. It wouldn't extrude any better. It would make it even harder, actually, to use. It might make it a little heavier. It probably wouldn't have any of the rust capabilities, but more than anything, the metals wouldn't work. You cannot put them together like that. That one, I think, is by far my favorite. I did get an email from an imported pergola kit company that said, when properly mounted and with the louvers open, our sleek and sophisticated backyard safe havens can withstand hurricane-like wind speeds without batting an eye. You see, they made sure to put with the louvers open. Why? Well, it's because their pergola can only handle 72-mile-an-hour winds, not the 120 that they put as a big text at the top. If you're opening the pergola, it's sort of a cop-out. It's like saying, here's an umbrella, and it can handle wind speeds up to 110 miles an hour with it closed. Well, then what about that summer day with a little bit more gusty and you have it open? Now suddenly the umbrella flies away. We actually have a video showing the difference, obviously, between a closed and an open sort of thing with an umbrella, where we took the liner out. It's a very funny video. But the point is that you can't engineer something around the best case scenario where someone opens the unit. If you leave town and the pergola is closed, you might as well kiss it goodbye. if it can't handle the wind speeds that your area is supposed to be rated for. If you're engineering something, you're engineering it for the worst sort of circumstances, right? High loads, high tensile strength. You want to look at worst case scenario. Tornado comes through. If anyone's seen the movie Twisters recently, you're engineering it for something like that. If you have a lot of tornadoes. If you live in California, you have a lot of earthquakes, you engineer it for the earthquakes. You don't engineer it for maybe there will never be earthquakes, right? You want to hit what makes sense for the region you live in. The problem here is if you're in the middle of a storm and you have heavy gusts, which we have, even here in Indiana, we have gusts that get over 70 mile an hour in a normal wind, sometimes 80, or if you have a heavy storm, even worse than that. You don't want your thought on your mind to be, well, what if my pergola becomes a flying piece of debris? You want to make sure that it stays put, and you have to worry about what you have to worry about in that moment, which is keeping yourself safe, right? You don't have to worry about opening it up just because there's a heavy storm happening. Now, the other problem here is obviously what happens when the power is out. If you have a motorized pergola you bought from someone else and the power goes out and it's closed at that moment, then it's closed. There's no way really to force it open other than potentially disassembling part of it in order to open it up in that big storm. That's the other issue. You want to have something that if the power goes out, you don't have to then worry, well, oh, well, we left it closed, why isn't it open? And then you're trying to reconnect power or hook up a generator to open up your pergola. You should be able to leave it and not have to worry about it. So don't buy into the wind rating when it says with the louvers open for the pergola. Ask them for it with the louvers closed. Now, when you look at a lot of these claims, they're typically offered by a company that's at a better price point than you'll see from a lot of our products. And that's why we designed a brand new pergola from scratch that hits both of those components, gives you a better price point, but still hits the same wind ratings that you would need for your specific area. One of the things that we've actually had calls about that we find actually a little deceptive, if you go on Amazon, you buy something, it says it's going to deliver within a time frame, you expect it to come in that time frame. Something we've seen a lot of is it says, let's say 5 to 15 days, for example, but what they really mean is it's 5 to 15 days once it's in stock. But what they fail to mention or don't advertise in order to get you to pay and put your money on your credit card, and so it's harder for you to get out of it, is it's not in stock right now and it won't be in stock for another 6 weeks. We've had multiple customers that call us and say they ordered it, they said it was supposed to be 5 to 15 days from these other companies, but it really isn't. It's more like an 8-week time frame before it's in stock, and then it'll ship in 5 to 15 days. So make sure you ask that question. Is it in stock right now if you're gonna buy from someone else? So hopefully this was educational. You got to see a little bit of the funny things that happen, at least in our industry. Every industry has these sorts of things, but ours certainly does. If you're looking for a product that fits your area and your budget, we have all different models and different lines and different sizes. So if you check us out at theluxurypergola.com, we'd be more than happy to help you out, talk to a sales team member, and be able to get you set up with a pergola that can actually handle all the things it says it does and is made with the correct amount of aluminum. Till next time, see ya.